Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you may be joining us from. Welcome to the first meeting of the online study class for the study of H.P. Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine. My name is Luke Ironside. I am the director of the Virtual Center for Theosophical Studies. We're very happy to welcome everyone here today, our friends in Russia, our friends from India, our friends from various parts of the world. Welcome all. The Virtual Center for Theosophical Studies was founded last year in May of 2020 for the purpose of facilitating the study of theosophy around the world through the means of the internet. This allows for cross-national and to cross boundaries in the study of such important texts as the Secret Doctrine. It allows for the facilitation of events such as this, where perhaps people are joining from many different locations and speaking different languages, and yet we're all able to come together and join in this shared study. And I think it's quite interesting to note the way that the study of theosophy has evolved. In the past, texts such as the Secret Doctrine would traditionally be studied in a lodge setting. People would gather once a week or perhaps a few times a week to come together in their lodges to study. There might be a presenter or a shared reading of the text. It was quite a small, intimate affair. However, now with the means of the internet, we're able to somewhat transcend the lodge and to come together from all these different places to share in this study. So it's quite liberating in a sense. The Secret Doctrine is rightly considered to be the foundation of theosophical study. It is, insofar as the truths of theosophy have been so far presented to the world, it is the total knowledge of what we know as theosophy. And while the study can at times seem rather daunting, the Secret Doctrine is a long work. It is complex. It is a work that many people find difficult to approach or difficult to know where to begin and how to study it. So while the study of the Secret Doctrine is complex and sometimes daunting, it could be considered through the metaphor of a puzzle. It's like a giant jigsaw puzzle, and as you put a piece here or a piece there, you may not quite understand the connection to other pieces or other ideas. But as you progress in an orderly fashion through a study of the Secret Doctrine, suddenly you see where this piece fits and how this piece connects to that piece. And slowly and gradually, it all starts to fit together and make sense. And this piecing together of the different parts of this study of theosophy can be something very difficult to achieve on one's own, which is why such a joint study, such as what we are sharing in today, can be of such value. We all bring to the table different experiences, different insights. Maybe we each bring a different piece of this gigantic puzzle that is theosophy. And it's through placing these pieces on the board together that we're able to arrive at the greater picture, which is the Secret Doctrine. Since its publication in 1888, the Secret Doctrine has revolutionized the study of esotericism. It has revolutionized the study of comparative religion and of its relationship to philosophy and science. It remains as relevant today as when it was first brought to the world. During the study group, we're going to be going through each part of the Secret Doctrine in orderly sequence. We're going to be reading through in our own times, reading through each section and coming together as a group to discuss the main ideas and the main themes and to try and unravel some of the mysteries of its interpretation. Through such a shared nature of this study, we hope that we'll perhaps arrive at a deeper understanding than we may be able to accomplish in a merely individual study. And so with that brief introduction to the work of the study group, I would like to now introduce our two course leaders. So I'm delighted to introduce Vladimir Yaryi from the Theosophical Society of Russia, who is the president of the Adamant Lodge and the head of the Moscow School of Theosophy. And I'm also delighted to welcome Eugenia Shebernikova, the project coordinator of the Foundation of Socially Significant and Educational Activity Development Theosophy from Moscow, Russia. So I'll now turn over to Eugenia for the introduction to the first study class. Thank you, Eugenia.
Thank you so much for everyone. Hello, everyone. Let us, at the beginning, clarify several technical points. We have simultaneous interpretation to English and Russian. This meeting is for English-speaking and Russian-speaking listeners. We have the function of translation or interpretation in Zoom. Please press it and choose your native language, Russian or English. Do not listen to the original sound, so this way you'll listen to the interpretation. The sharing chat is closed in order to avoid spam, but you can share all your impressions, opinions, questions and answers in question and answers section. So this is the brief characteristic of our technical characteristic of our workshop.
We already have participants who've joined the workshop, 121 people from regions of Russia, Ukraine, Moldova, Belarus, India, the Great Britain, the United States, Bolivia, Nigeria, Indonesia, Philippines, Japan, Pakistan, Canada, Lebanon, Norway, Mexico, Germany, Estonia, Spain, Australia, Brazil.
We would like to express how grateful we are to the director of Virtual Research Center, Mr. Luke Michael Ironside, for his initiative, understanding, and ability to cooperate with us. Mr. Vladimir Yary is not the head of Theosophical Society of Russia. He is the president of Adamant Lodge of the Russian Theosophical Society. That is our brief remark. Thank you very much for your interest to the Secret Doctrine. Our time puts forward necessity of theosophical material first and foremost for theosophists and those who have interest in it. You know that today in many bookshops and the internet we can find a lot of esoteric literature, and esoterics and theosophy itself is a fashionable word. Many directions, many branches say that these are theosophical or esoteric works, as it is the same, but it's not the case, because what Madame Blavatsky gave is the classics, is the initial source and theosophical work itself. How to understand anything in these in these waves of information the internet gives us, and how to reveal this pure character and initial source of Theosophy. The School of Theosophy in Russia, since the start of 1990s, was established by Mr. Vladimir Bakanov in the Siberian city of Kemerovo and gave us the system to study the Secret Doctrine. As this is a fundamental scientific work, was given by Madame Blavatsky to everyone who would like to study the truth. In 1993, we established the Russian Esoteric Theosophical School, named after Elena Blavatsky, was established. And since then, we've been studying Theosophy and the system of Kala Chakra, the wheel of time, and it let us implement this and make it practice of our everyday. Vladimir Bakanov and the Russian School of Theosophy have made many discoveries since then, which has led us to an impulse to study Theosophy in Russia and in the whole world. That is a slow process, and everyone who has interest in it should, on his own, on her own, study this work, but direction of study, of research, in order not to get lost in all this material, is possible due to adamant logic and due to our school. Helena Blavatsky prevented that we cannot understand the Secret Doctrine only by intelligence. We need imagination in order to understand anything. The Secret Doctrine was translated into Russian by Elena Rerich under the leadership of Master Moria. Agni Yoga was given to the world by the Rerich family, and that was the reason to instructions for the practical use of Mahatma teaching. This way, knowledge of the Secret Doctrine and Agni Yoga of Rerichs became the joint teaching of Mahatma. These joint studies were sustainably given by the teachers for the new epoch and established a system with many tables, with geometry created by Vladimir Bakanov and his school members, and it all let us get the foundation for further knowledge. If we all get this fundamental knowledge, each and every of us will be able to get new knowledge, revealing creative capacity and getting a clear understanding of his or her way of path. Today, at the very beginning, we would like to discuss the importance of this teaching and possible uh, of difficulties students have when they start to touch upon this teaching. And probably this way we can understand the sequence of starting the material. I give the word, the introductory word for our discussion to the president of Adamant Lodge of the Russian Theosophical Society, Vladimir Yary. Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you so much for coming here. And the interest to the secret knowledge is, thanks God, present in us. It is even brighter, and it gets us to the other world, to the world of spirituality based on moral code and rules of the high ideal. We are all trying to fit to this ideal, but everyone has his own worldview of this idea. In order to just make this ideal more clear for us, to make it more bright, we should get it closer to us. And since then, the only way to do it is in groups. And study in groups is a really important factor. This factor is that we are in a way behind the glass, on the outer side of the glass. And through communication between people, through our communication with the others, and communication of other people of this school, we further and further see our shortcomings, see our negative aspects, our harsh part of our soul. In the group, it is easier to notice them. And that is why those who study in groups are those who adjust their worldview, their personality, their individual character through communication. Because communication is actually the only happiness we have in this planet. And those who search for this happiness will find it in group work. And after that, following it, his or her individual personality will know shortcomings of oneself, clearing the soul and becoming more plastical, more convenient for communication with other people and in the outer world. Such a person can bring peace to his or her soul and personality, to harmonize oneself, to be attentive to oneself. All these features necessary in yogas presented by Krishna. All the yogas are clarifying this element of human soul through discipline of mind. When a person tries to comprehend such deep esoteric teaching, esoteric in the sense that it should be perceived as a secret teaching, not only as a manual or as a book, but as a theosophical manual having the essence of things, and the essence of things is the secret. In order to get to this secret through group knowledge and group thoughts, it is possible. An individual person cannot do it. He or she cannot create a thought form. You must understand clearly that the human being itself is this thought form. Here, behind the back, there is the Kala Chakra calendar, Kala Chakra Shambhala. That is the symbol of the human being, or of the human being thought form, because it is the essence of microcosm. Kala Chakra is the symbol of macrocosm and of microcosm united. And accordingly, the thought form is, as such, a round thing with spirals, with pentagrams, cubes, with some animals. 12 of those animals are named Nidanas, the reasons for existence. All it is put in the circle, and it is interesting that the details that put the space in the disc or in the circle, or to the mind with its space, that is the thing we should fill in ourselves. It is called getting together thought forms into ideal system or form according to the cosmic law. That is the way to make human being the executor of the supreme will, of the cosmic will, and a bearer of this supreme thought. If we are several people who gather under the occult number that cannot be divided in two, if they come together, we get our link, energetic link to the spiritual world, and therefore the human being can co-sound to the same human beings, concentrating on the leader. This way we have the dynamo machine. A generator, an electric generator, electricity is coming, and this way we create crystallization or revealed types of life forms that have essence of things or harmonized thoughts in themselves, and such harmonizing crystals of thoughts can be created by co-workers who can co-sound, and we can co-sound only after clearing our channels that let us transfer energy and accumulate this uniting element, our group thinking. And this way, this group thinking is creating thought forms that is not only something nasty, because nasty thing can come out in a group work only when we don't have a co-sound, when we have fear, doubts, when we do not trust to each other. These elements do immediately destroy our common form. We have no head, no arms, no legs. We have this nasty thing. And this nasty thing works by power of poison, because this thought form cannot exist, cannot bring harmony to the world. It is rejected by energies, but it disturbs minds, and such a society becomes a witchy society, like witches, because this way we bring element of disturbing somebody in this group, and everything is destroyed. And that is why the main idea of the group work is that we should understand how to co-work. As the living ethics Agni Yoga teachings speaks, the epoch we are entering as the Aquarius epoch now, and this Aquarius epoch is an epoch of femininity that demands intuitive thinking. According to the group that gathers, therefore, everyone should tune from individual perceiving to individual work that is altruistic in its essence, that has no personality. There is no free thought element there. Why? Because the feeling of loyalty, that is what we need, and it is what we get through love. Love to the absolute truth is the only thing that reveals our loyalty and understanding the hierarchy of light. Without this point that gathers us all together, we'll have nothing but chaos. And it will poison not only us, but all the space and conditions around. A human being can create conditions only when he has the sense of respect for this absolute truth. When you love this absolute truth, I'm saying absolute because when we take a not absolute truth, we make limits, and limits bring us to mistakes. The truth, just a truth, is a short way that is closing on itself, and the human being is an energetic one. And if the human being only addresses himself or herself, he or she burns out, and it is just the remainings, because when he starts burning his channels of spirituality, he starts to limit oneself in his egoism and pre-thinking, and that is what doesn't let him do anything, because there is fear around the mind.
The person starts to self-destruct. The person is destroying from the inside with this fear that is growing and growing into a horror, and so as not to show his true face. The person's such human, even under the fear of death, he goes and starts compromising. And of course, this is a very scary thing, because in this case, the person becomes possessed. And you know how they say in Christianity, he is possessed by a devil, by an imp. He loses his gift. He loses the gift of the sense of communion with everything. So those who work in the groups, they avoid this element. They reach the state of partnership, they reach the state of unity easier. So the next formula, the first, is the awareness of the hierarchy, or respecting the hierarchy through the love for absolute truth. The second is the awareness and realization of unity. To realize unity is to learn how to work in the group, and in this case we consciously approach actions where self-conscious, in order to unite our efforts to for the sake of harmony and peace, for this order, not for building this order not only in you, but taking account the order in your soul. We get rid of chaos in space and in any conditions in the communication with the society. And this skill to partner, to collaborate, to cooperate brings in the next formula. This is relatability. The person then is able to relate, to correlate his capacities, his capabilities with how and what he can do, how he can bring harmony, how he can keep the good spirit in other people, in communication with other people, and how to keep this good spirit for himself, first of all. And this is another pillar, another stepping stone for building peace on earth and for building the temple of your own soul. And when, and as soon as those three main formulas, when we explain them to each other, when we realize them, when we think them through, then a power will arise in us. Power that is and can be described through the formula, through the canon of your Lord. So for us, what will be the most important? The world and peace with the person we meet with. If we meet people being sad, being tired, then we try to co then we try to correlate with them, then we try to correspond them with them. This is what we learn in groups, to co-align, the co-alignment. That's why they say that unhappiness is a very powerful destructive force. And if this happens in a group with whomever it may be, only on the plane of persuasion, the person just allows this thought. The person has allowed this thought. He thought about it. What is to allow thought? You just attracted it. You just thought it through, thought according to this through, which means you allowed it. As soon as you allowed it, your strength, your energy, and the person has amazing strength, strength of Fahad. The person has psychic energy that works like that. At the same moment, in peril, the me, the I, the toxic of this conviction, which is caused by the energy of the thought behind it, this poison instantly envelops the space and it joins with aeroperial, the space poison, with the chaos, and this chaos instantly poisons the people that it envelops, the people that it surrounds. The person has to once again align, once again co-align, and this is a difficult thing to do. And who is to blame? The one who is to blame is the one who is unknown, who can only be identified by the leader of the group. So the leader knows, and all the students can only suppose. But trust to the teacher and being loyal to the teacher get rid of this energy, the energy that would block, the energy that would meddle with the person. So it cancels this opportunity to bring in poison. So the group that works with the key of unity, with the key of co-alignment with the teacher, the group is capable to really identify, to really realize, to really understand Mahayana, the teachings of Mahayana, of the great chariot, or the teaching of the Bodhisattva. The teaching shows the path of the Bodhisattva, the path through the great compassion. This fourth pillar, if you do it consciously, if you do it aware, if you do it with full awareness, if you follow the canon of your Lord, then in this case, the person becomes the bearer of this drop, the drop of wisdom. And the person is then able to bear and to carry Amrita, the energy of life, to carry this energy through his compassion. This is the path of the Bodhisattva. Our school in Kemerovo, which I was in part of, where Vladimir Anatolievich Bakanov created the system purely on intuition. He The system came to him when he was in the mountains. He was a mountain climber. This image came to him in the Ural Mountains, in the Caucasus Mountains. You understand, you realize that an image does not come by itself. And the great teachings tell us, the great prophecies tell us that the teaching will come from Russia. And the monks uncovered this truth to Putin, saying that the teaching will come from Siberia. And Kemerov, the school of Theosophy, named after Elena Petrovna Blavatsky, the Russian esoteric school that was created in 1993, this year was unique. Unique because in those energies, the energies of the black rooster, on the wheel of time, you can see this black rooster. It shows in itself the principle of Logos, or the Word of God, that initially was, and that can only be perceived in spirit. And it can only sound in the heart intuitively. And intuitively, with Vladimir Anatolievich, I also participated in it when we went in, when we created the school, when we created the group. And it reflected the school of Neoplatonism. As you know, Ammonius Sax, in his time, when what surfaced or what appeared is Theosophy. Theosophy surfaced and appeared and emerged. He called initially his school the school of energy and energy theosophical wisdom. This is a very significant thought. Neoplatonists worked in the same key. Neoplatonists also researched and did their works in the same theosophy, the energy of theosophical wisdom. And it ended up so that we continued, we were able to take on this torch, taking into account this colossus of a man who was Vladimir Anatolievich. He became our center point. He became the axis around which the people started to gather. Can you imagine that I'm literally telling you what works and what has already been tested through our own experience? How does it all align and join? So now this group work, we can take it and really brightly and clearly work it like a system, the system that was established by Mr. Bakanov, the system of exploring and researching each shloka of Secret Doctrine, each station of Dhyang. We now have a system, the system that was embedded in a circle. So you, for yourself, can make sure of it when you see that Kala Chakra that's described by the Buddhists, or any other idea of a paradigm, of an understanding of your generation, your people, your age, creating the Kala Chakra. They all created the Kala Chakras or calendars, and it will be very different. So it also worked in its own time, and it was provided so Kala Chakra now in this way, in the way that's present at this poster, at the poster behind us, in this way. It is, I would now say, it's more open in its more open way, because symbols and signs that were given in Tibet, they were very thoroughly covered, because Kalachakra did not descend to the lowlands. But when with this approach, when ether descends lower and lower, and you know that ether is the synthetic feature of all the four elements, the synthetic field of energy. Let's call this cross of a center point. The light joined and became the thought form. The thought form for this time is more open. It's more open, but the symbolism still is very complex. It's complex to those who don't study the secret doctrine, because the secret doctrine has in it uncovering the ways and features of the principles, the locks to the truths, and the key to this knowledge is given by Elena Blavatsky in and because we have approached this aspect from a moral position, and moral position is given to us through Agni Yoga. Agni Yoga is what brought the necessary feature that explains the whole nature of this system, of space creation, of space genesis, anthropogenesis, and theogenesis, space, nature, and man. So it ended up so that life, or the moral of life, brings and gives in nature through consciousness, through awareness, the actions of this spatial electricity that awakens in us the potential of spiritual memory that allows the man to remember himself, to remember or to uncover the capacity of a moral nature for cleaning and cleansing the channels of perception of divine wisdom. And what, if not morals, will allow us to cleanse these channels? Moral also requires strict discipline. It is not an easy task. So, to conclude, this aspect of my dialogue with you, I would like to say a very important thing. The awareness, the understanding of hierarchy, the understanding and awareness of unity or communion between us, co-alignment and canon of the Lord. Without this foundation, there will be no loyalty, there will be no appraisal, there will be no love for your close ones, there will be no coexistence, there will be no understanding, there will be no clarity. And now, let's approach the most practical use or understanding of how the system co-aligned the generator of ideas, the Kala chakra. And it will be electric theosophy of wisdom, because wisdom is a very special tension or a very special state of knowledge. The knowledge itself in its synthesis creates energy potential because it uncovers the energy of the atoms, and it sends this energy according the necessary moment, according to this given instance in time. Do you understand? This Kala chakra, the one that symbolizes the same atom, with the nucleus, with the core in the center, which is symbolized by the synthetic divine thought. And where is it? This six-pronged star shows us nature, because this six-pronged star is a symbol of nature in itself. And nature Nature symbolizes work of the heart. So the thought itself is in the heart. And this thought is a grain of spirit. In this grain of spirit, there are all the strengths, all the potential. So this divine thought has all the potential strengths. And only when love touches this thought, when heart uncovers, when heart opens up with the energy of love for absolute truth, then we get the opportunity to bring in this energy of the grain of spirit as the voice of silence, or intuition as the power that's capable to give us the knowledge, and with that energy of wisdom in which we the one that we have awakened in ourselves with the power of love, and having our own consciousness in this range of wisdom, we get so that the person individually is only able to self-improvement, only individually, with the thought of this inner tension individually to start co-align with the teachings of the Mahatma, to start to co-align with the hierarchy of the light, to start to co-align with the truth. And this will change the world that humanity lives in. So the time for the coming of the sixth phrase, and we prepare the coming of the sixth phrase. So humanity that organized in groups of common minds and common thinkers, and this group of common thinkers starts to come up with thought, starts to shape thought forms that bring in peace and tranquility, to the substance of the space. So the chaos of the space, they transform into such a state of eagerness, of readiness to be ready to accept the sixth humankind, to embody it with good forms for this grain of spirit, to be able to embody in the spirit of awareness of the human consciousness of reality. We have this very complex formula, but it was only said for you to understand that it's not that easy. Everything depends from every unit, every singularity that comes to a society, to a school, to a group, for it to jointly research and to bring the consciousness in the world. Today we're in the energy where the person itself is a machine, and the generator and the transformator, and brings in energy and sends out in the secondary prana, the prana of life, because he pulls in all his thoughts and feelings with this flow of life. And whatever the flow of life may be, if it will co-align with the energy of day, month, year, because those are spirals, this century, then the century has its own concentration in years. And today we have the century of the white dragon at the wheel of time. White dragon is in the constellation of Gemini. This is the century of white dragon. Its element symbolizes showing, at the same time showcasing in synthesis, the perception of consciousness, of being, because the dragon is the existence itself, and the elements symbolize the synthesis that leads to understanding of the existence, and then the person can sensibly co-align the energy of life, so do it reasonably and economically in unity with this energy of wisdom, and then he works following the canon of your Lord, and this cross four pillars, they rotate, it creates a swastika. Swastika, an energy flow with the hammer of Thor. It brings in life through space, through the chaotic space, getting it to energy plasmoid, crystallizing it, and getting it as a finished harmonical meaning of being, of new life. This is the way it builds a new space, and the century that's concentrated in a year, the year of white ox, and white ox in itself is the constellation of in the area where we where the person has to weigh in or rethink or revalue their values, and this is the re-evaluation. This is the this is the sen this is the direction for the space that's directed for the energy of Venus or the higher planets. In this direction of space, the person has to turn in conscious actions, and the ox tells us that the nidana of white ox, this energy of implementation, of realization, that ox carries a very powerful energy of implementation in it, but surprisingly, what is that implementation? What is that realization about? Where is it present? How can we achieve the realization of your spiritual potential? Only in case of the next aspect. We have this feature that's called darkening of the soul, eclipse of the soul, that's symbolized with this word as klesha. Klesha is the eclipse of the soul. And when we consider ox for the klesha, or the energy of realization for ox, lies in its ignorance. The ox does not know what it does, but it has this power of realization, and of course uh, we think about what's spent indirectly because of the consciousness is captivated with thoughts and feelings. It's impossible to implement a reality, and the ignorance is built through knowledge, and
That is, in order to fight against this ignorance, we should get knowledge to implement the principles. But in order to do this, we get to know our own ignorance, and after that, it will be purified from this ignorance. This force of realization is magnificent, because with this force, a human being can create a discipline of mind, can create opportunities for getting to clarity in mind, to clarity of mind. That is the year we are living through. It is unique, and in its clarity, the person can reveal the wisdom of Genesis, the period of dragon where the ox is, and by natural way it happens in every person, but every person lives in these energies unconsciously, but we should become conscious units. That is how we'll become co-workers of the cosmos. This co-work starts at school. After that, we get to the cosmic level of conscious. We'll be able to create and to judge the gods, such as Helena Blavatsky says that a human being will judge the gods after he wins and becomes the manager of his spontaneous nature, manager of the elements of this spontaneous human nature. And this governance of elements makes him capable of bringing harmony to the world wherever he is. He, by his presence, only creates blessing in the world and changes the minds, but the person who is not fully accomplished does not fully have control of his spontaneous nature, will cause only questions in other people, of course answering them, but this question after he answers will cause even bigger flow of questions. And that is the difference between the pure soul or Mahatma and the student who has also become, in some case, an adept, or a person who starts to get control over the elements, and that is why he is a student. And after he learns how to do it, he is a pure soul, and so no element will bring him out of harmony and balance. And that is why Vajra is the symbol of Mahatma, the symbol of Mahayana system, the symbol of this great chariot. And this chariot, this Mahayana, is the consequence, and it develops bodhisattva nature of compassion. A person who has found this compassion of bodhisattva becomes the teacher. In other words, he becomes a Vajrayana, the barrier of the diamond chariot of mind. The mind is so pure that in its essence it cannot be controlled by anything. It is overwhelming. It knows everything and includes everything. It has no limits. It is such a mind. And that is why we need this system of school education. Let us imagine how much lose those who try to do it on their own, to create it for themselves. If someone does it on its own, it's Hinayana system that will demand from this single person who is wasted really time for good thing, but wasted because it will bring him to Mahayana, because Hinayana is the causal relations teaching, and Mahayana that brings together the cause and the consequence. That is how a human being becomes the creator and co-worker of the sky and the earth. The energy of today's day, the energy of our day, is really important and beautiful as the energy of the month. Let us imagine The God has a focus of month energy symbolized by the white monkey, and the white monkey is the symbol. Let us imagine the harmony in its finalization, because the white color, the symbol of metal or the ether, focuses all the four elements or controls them with the four elements: the fire, the earth, the water, and the air. And this synthesis is creating the great harmony, when the center of this ether, or the essence of the great harmony, where we see dodecahedron, is the structure of the space. Here we see the dodecahedron expresses them. Every pentagram is in direction of space in this cube inside, based on 6 points of the heart. This cube is called the nature of the mind, of consciousness, and these directions, these pentagrams, symbolize the structure of the space. It looks like a football ball with these pentagrams. This ether structure is harmonious, and the wheel of time is created in this ether, and the ether brings information of this divine thought that we read in the Secret Doctrine as the central point, as the point giving birth, the point of the emergence of the universe. It's the emergence of Pahata energy. Here is the central point that says Pahata energies. These energies come into this information field, dodecahedron. And this dodecahedron has 2, 3, and 4 dimensions. It has many dimensions, and information is revealed according to the law. As Madame Blavatsky says, it happens when 3 come into 4, and that is the moment when we see holography, or the focus of all the idea of this divine thought in the universe. In this energy of the age, of the month, and of the day, in this either condition, we can accept information. And the tiger, who reveals today, is the tension of our divine capacity, and he is in Lion constellation. Lion constellation is the symbol of Shambhala. The symbol of Lion or Leo, or conscious of this Leo of spirit. We should become these Leos, these warriors, but we can become them only when we give birth to a new understanding of the world, not usual for us. And that is why in this teaching it is said that we should get rid of thinking we're used to. Now we are in this tiger, and each and every of you is tense in order to try to get the essence of teaching expressed by this system. the Camera school of this Kalachakra system that we are trying to propose you, if you're ready to cooperate with us. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Luke, Michael are on side, who has prepared a presentation with main points of our cooperation. Please, Mr. Luke, show us the presentation.
And so this presentation will just show a few of the key points and purposes of this online study class. It will give an overview of some of what we will study and a brief introduction to the work of the Secret Doctrine itself. So if we could turn to the following slide. Okay, and so in this study of the Secret Doctrine, we're going to be providing a platform, as mentioned in the introduction, for us all to come together across the world once a month for now for the study, to offer group discussion on its key points. Again, we all have some unique perspectives to share, and it's through this shared understanding, through this discussion as a group, that we may arrive at a deeper understanding of the essence of the Secret Doctrine. And therefore, this group is intended to facilitate a deeper understanding through such shared study. Also, to offer questions and answers to common questions about the Secret Doctrine and its relation to Theosophy. To now introduce the work itself. The Secret Doctrine is a 2-volume work written by Madame Blavatsky through the guidance of the Masters of the Wisdom. So I think it's quite important to emphasize here that Madame Blavatsky never considered herself to be the author of the Secret Doctrine in the sense of being the creator of these ideas. Madame Blavatsky never suggested that these ideas were her own original thoughts. In fact, she explicitly stated that they were not, but that these ideas presented in the Secret Doctrine are the universal heritage of mankind. Madame Blavatsky emphasized that the writings and the ideas of the Secret Doctrine have been around since time immemorial. And so the first work of the Secret Doctrine focuses on cosmogenesis. As the name suggests, this is the spiritual history and evolution of the cosmos from its primordial birth until its current state. So it's a vast endeavor to outline the very earliest stages of cosmic manifestation in those first moments of the Manvantaric dawn, right through the stages of evolution and births and rebirths until the present condition of our world. The second volume considers our place as human beings, our unique place in this grand cosmic scheme. It deals with the development and the evolution of human life on Earth. And it also comments upon and provides a map for the future of our development. This helps us to understand the purpose of our existence, our place in this great drama of life, and to provide us with a bit of a guideline for where we are going and why we are walking upon the path that we walk together.
Dear colleagues, now we come to the part. I'd like to give the brief characteristic of these books. And these are books for understanding the Secret Doctrine, there are all books, all letters of Madame Blavatsky, and the letters of Mahatmas. William Kwan Judge is the co-worker of Madame Blavatsky. When they were creating the Theosophical Society together, William Kwan Judge was given the ethics of the teaching as the cause of Agni Yoga that was given afterward. When Judge was working together with Madame Blavatsky, Madame Blavatsky was calling her a society. He managed to combine the heart and the mind, and in simple form, in these two books, he spoke of Theosophy. He told about the life of Theosophy, of its cell, the way we are supposed to be to understand what Theosophy is. 14 books of Agni Yoga that were given to the world by Helena Rerich, who translated the Secret Doctrine for Russia. That is the and also Mahatma created under the guidance of Mahatma Moria. It's all translated into English. The second book, that is the eternal one, is The Two Lives, written by Concordia Antarova. It is translated fully into French, and it is translated into Lithuanian fully and partly into English. These are 4 books that are telling about the life of teachers in Shambhala. That is the great experience revealed by teachers, and Concordia Antarova rewrote it within the framework of her school first, and afterwards she came up with the decision to print these books. Today you can buy them. And Krishnamurti is the great book. It is really small, but as well as the eternal teaching. This book, At the Feet of the Master, helps us. Thank you. And William Kwan Judge, The Ocean of Theosophy, The Path, and Helena Rerich, Agni Yoga, Concordia Antarova, Two Lives, and Krishnamurti, At the Feet of the Master, help us, as well as all books and articles by Helena Blavatsky and the Theosophical Dictionary. When we get to know this dictionary through learning these words put there, we can understand every notion given in the Secret Doctrine. Next time, we'll discuss the proem that is the beginning of the Secret Doctrine. This proem is the fundamental introduction, and it has such a great importance because there is the whole foundation and the whole system of the two first books, Cosmogenesis and the second book, the second volume. On the 11th of March, we'll meet. In this month, we'll read the introductory part, the proem. Probably you'll have some discoveries or the questions that you can write to the director of the research center, to Luke Michael Ironside, or write them your questions on the the joint teaching of the Secret Doctrine, or on any other work. Mr. Luke Ironside, Michael Ironside, will give these questions to us, and next time we'll answer the questions and comment on them. These workshops will be like discussions, when we'll interact, when we'll really reveal the Secret Doctrine slok by slok. Every time we'll discuss a particular slok, and we'll be given directions and methods to study the Secret Doctrine. Each and every of you will individually fill in this workshop, but your individual work. Here we have the small schedule of where we meet. Thank you very much for having watched, and thank you, Luke, for having prepared such a common concept on developing. I would like to probably speak a bit about the system that seems to be the most important on learning the Secret Doctrine path. We have the main system, the planes of existence, that are given in the Secret Doctrine by Helena Blavatsky. Now I'll try to switch on the planes of existence as the common scheme now at the screen. These planes of existence given by Helena Blavatsky in the Secret Doctrine. The system creating the 7 planes put a kind of matrix inside. Here is the single plane, that is where everything starts. That is the revelation of the Absolute, from which the Secret Doctrine starts. We see the upper plane. The second plane is the plane of gods. The consequent plane is the plane of spirit. These 3 planes are the 3 planes of spirits beyond forms. They do not have forms, and each of them corresponds to a stanza of Zion. The plane of prototypes is the great plane where we have all the images, where the Mula Prakriti becomes the Prakriti. In this point, from this plane, we have the first differentiation, and the great plane of mind and creativity opens with the 7-point star. The material and formative plane is born following the yellow light of wisdom, the subtle plane, all the elements, the 6-point star as well, and the next plane, at the bottom, is the physical plane. These planes of existence that bring the cause to the system of the Secret Doctrine, and if we study it, will not be lost.
And when it was an internal sources of continuation, the members of scientific and research group told us, what is the time you're speaking about? What is that time? Is it a metaphysical time, a mental time? When we know the plans of being, we can clearly make a match and correlation about what we say and what we discuss in the comment for the Secret Doctrine. In order to say that there was no time, it is the first answer. We understand that we are in the absolute. We speak about absolute ideas, about abstract ideas, and physical starts at the plane of material and formative, the delicate plane, the thin plane. This is the universe manifested. It's way lower. And when we start putting in these categories, we understand how this and every plan will be the whole world. Because it's going to be an endless world which brings in all the sloka and stanza young and from the Secret Doctrine. Everybody can draw a plan of being of their own schemes. Take a look at how Elena Petrovna did it and individually fill it with life. There are images that Elena Petrovna in her comments gives a very clear explanations of what is that. Can we please turn in planes of being with stanzas? Now we'll have another plane with another set of planes with stanzas. Now we see the Russian uh, language. We see the terms for all the stanzas and each of the planes, how they correlate with the Secret Doctrine. Here is uncovered in one small scheme, but we can also feel it with many incarnations for many years. I want to say that first chapter of the Secret Doctrine we've researched for 7 years. We uncovered, enveloped each of the stanzas for a year, so we feel them in this way. Take a look in English now. We'll have an English version for you. This is the plane of prototypes, which the single corresponds to stanza 1, the second corresponds to the plane of gods, the third stanza corresponds to the plane of spirit, the fourth as the plane of that gets together the plane of prototypes. The plane of minor creativity corresponds to stanza 5. This is what describes it, the plane of minor creativity, when the differentiation happened and when the first four start to act as sixth plane, the physical plane, educational plane, which means the sixth stanza of Jiang, and seventh, last physical plane is station number 7, and then we start this human evolution and the envelope of the second tome, the explanation on how the human evolved. Please take a look at the color chakra right now. If we draw 3 crosses, first, physical, second, mental, and third, spiritual, then those 3 crosses in the German will give us 12 sectors. This is a very simple kind of geometry that provides for the occult number of 13. Now we've taken a look at the planes of being and the planes of existence, how they correlate with all the stanza from Jiang. The same way, the correlation with the planes of being is with each sector on the Kala chakra. First is Ram, the first stanza. Second, Aries, the second stanza. Third stanza, Gemini, fourth stanza. Cancer, fifth stanza. Leo, sixth stanza. Ways in the seventh stanza with the final stanza, and then we start then we have human up to Cancer. This is the amazing turn of the Kala chakra. The central image on the Kala chakra is the 6-pronged star. You probably had time to notice that each of the principles has its own ray coming in on the Kala chakra as a 7th pronged star, as a 6th pronged star. We have 7 key beams, 5 elements. Yellow color is the element of earth, white color is the element of ether, black color is the element of water, green is the element of air. All the 5 elements are given in their continuity in sequence between 12 signs of the zodiac, and they amount to 60-year cycle. So this is the way the cycle ends and starts. If we consider the 6th pronged star with inside the Kala chakra, and you on your email will have our English speaking and Russian speaking audience will be provided with a Kala chakra calendar so that you could research it at home. You can take a look at all the beams, principles, elements, so that you can take a look at what the sectors consist of, so that you would use this with the Jiang stations as overall planes of existence, which can give you a new impulse for thinking. And planes of existence, planes of being will also be sent to your email when we consider the 6-pronged star as the first triangle that looks upwards, it symbolizes the spirit. It reflects and has its own reflection. And the second triangle looks downwards, which is the matter. And when you would join spirit and matter, then each of these connections connects these 12 sectors. If we link them together, if we link all these dots of these 6 prong stars, we will see a cup, like, yeah, we'll see a tesseract in it. This is the sacral geometry. As the great Pythagore said, that everything a great God is geometry, and when we have these 2 triangles, and they give this rise of consciousness, where the consciousness becomes full, it becomes it starts to shine. Those 12 sectors reflect. The reflection of this cube is this earth, which becomes the earth of the gods. But lots of geometry and figures in the Dhyan stanzas themselves. The prologue in itself is majestic. It has some mental ideas, and besides, about which we're told these interesting lectures on this topic every time when we research them. Every time when we study, we have a new understanding, new revelation, new discovery, and it's amazing. And this new is the most important in interaction of the groups. And when we start researching this together, we start having discoveries right here, right now. Is this live thought, this besides this chaotic uh, force that's being created. In this way, we cement the space and we help the teachers to bring this theosophy in life and in this practical method to get out knowledge. We always have in front of us a meditative thought for every day, starting from the book of the Pearl of the East by Elena Petrovna Blavatsky, and today's thought of Elena Petrovna says, "A wise is convinced is, and the stupid man is sure that he understands." So we live in this day in certain kinds of energy. I would now ask Vladimir Yarov to tell us more about the Kala chakra, to tell about the energies that we live through and how can we use it practically up to these days. Once again, to confirm what Elena Petrovna, that Elena Petrovna was the only one to know that the only one who we're looking for 100 years, and she gives us this book in this Pearl of the East. Throughout this year and for every day, we have thoughts. This thought, as of today, has, what is that meaning? The wise convinces. The wise is convinced in his ignorance. The wise is sure that everything can be considered. And also, what is very important, to have this thought, if you understand it in a way, is how the wise is sure in their own ignorance, and the ox, the ear of the ox, tells us about this energy, the energy of the white ox. It tells us about the energy of ignorance, the energy that has in it the strength to know more. Only a fool can say how it will go on. Then that a fool person understood and realize something. No, the wise man isn't learning something that he doesn't know what he's doing. This is his wisdom, the wisdom that he doesn't stop at some ideas that were achieved. He turns them further and further. He turns the consciousness away to get these things and to bring in them. So this is the beauty of the wisdom. And as a rule, if we take some of those implementation which happen because we allow the things that we don't know, or is it just a white paper, tabula rasa for us that will allow to write and to write down on it, or just like an empty cup, the empty cup that can that can be embedded wisdom, taking into account the experience, the discipline of our thought or spirit. White tiger, the today tells us that all the energy that is characteristic for today, that is characteristic for this month, for this week, this year, this century, we can get it in this day, and taking into account this tension to give birth, so to let ourselves be born in this or that Garda. So Gati is just a title of the state of awareness that we can perceive this thought in, or this energy, and we have 7 of these borns, of these Gati states. And if we want to be born a man, or a man with this godly divine developing of potential,
then in this case, the birth will be in the divine world, or will give birth to ourselves as to creator, a creative person. And this energy concentrated in this al-Fahad radiance, or psychological energy expressed in prana energy, or life itself energy. With this energy, we can create conditions of existence and of genesis. This energy of today's world should become such a power that is waken up in us by the discipline of spirit. Our will should become conscious, because this sector of Leo concentrates Fahad energy as the energy of conscious will. And it is very important. Today we'll all try, or would try, to concentrate on attention to the change, the move of the wheel of teaching in our mind. The energy of thought gives us the point to begin, the tension to start the new energy of birth, of new ourselves, of birth of a person who is capable of bringing peace to all the existing beings. Thank you. Dear colleagues, that was the introductory workshop. We've tried to speak of main aspects. It's impossible to cover all the things at the same time, and we don't need it basically. This learning of the Secret Doctrine is a very long process. It is the most important not to be in a hurry at the beginning, to try to come deep into the text so that all the letters, words, and compositions of words, principles, notions are parts of us so that we understand them as our close friends. And when this life will start to be warm, these images will change, then no schemes will be needed because it will all be living within us, with us. And that is the greatness of getting to know the Secret Doctrine. First of all, we need to grip, to make our grip of images, to develop imagination, to watch those abstract notions, what they can contain, and reveal, open them a bit, understand how they live, and when they within us, our understanding will be clear. We'll see life, and then we'll need no geometry, and we'll need no schemes, no tables. It will all be in our lives. It will be our life. Mr. Luke Michael Ironside, please close our workshop and draw us to a conclusion. Thank you for bearing these 2 hours. Welcome, please.
Thank you. Today we have had a fantastic meeting in which we have really provided a structure and a foundation for what will be our future meetings when we're going to go into some more detail in our study of the Secret Doctrine. And I think, as Eugenia just mentioned, what's important in starting off on this journey is to realize that there's no rush, there's no need to hasten into it. When one is starting off on the path of the study of the Secret Doctrine, which is truly momentous and vast and all-encompassing work, the most important thing is to ensure that the foundation of one's study is a solid foundation. It's important, like the idea of an empty cup, to come into the study of Theosophy and of the Secret Doctrine devoid of preconceptions that might misguide or hinder one's progress through the study. We need to empty our minds and then become an empty vessel in order to truly start at the beginning. We're like children starting off in primary school, and we're going to go through the study of the Secret Doctrine and eventually graduate with a master's degree or a PhD. It's a vast work, and we're going to go right through the entire process. And what we don't want to do is to start off on this process believing that we already have the answers to these fundamental questions, or that this idea we've gained from this area or from that area is the right idea. We need to remain open-minded, and we need to come with an open and, to an extent, with an empty mind. And I think today both course leaders touched upon some very important aspects of the study. Vladimir Yaryi gave some excellent and insightful connections between the Secret Doctrine and the Kala Chakra, and we can see how a study of the Secret Doctrine relates also to this. And I'm sure as we go through the study of the Secret Doctrine, that many elements of the Kala Chakra will start to make more sense. They will be revealed. We'll make connections between this and that and see how it all fits together again, like a giant jigsaw puzzle. Eugenia gave some very helpful tips about some works that can be studied alongside the Secret Doctrine in order to provide us with some perhaps guidelines for its study. And these works can also be sent out, the suggested works can be sent out to the participants for further research. We've only just briefly touched upon the immensity of the task before us. It's going to be a long journey, but we have taken the first step. And I would like to extend my thanks to the course leaders for all the preparation and extensive preparation that's gone into making this study class a possibility. I'd also like to especially thank the interpreters for their very hard work in making this a joint effort so that we can have many people joining us from all parts of the world. I'd like to thank the team members who helped with the technical aspects of today's meeting as well. And lastly, I'd like to thank all of the participants. This is a group study. We are all students of Theosophy. While some of us may be taking on the role of course leaders and so on, in the end, we are all students coming together for this joint study of the Secret Doctrine. So thank you once again. Thank you to all.
Огромное спасибо.
Thank you very much. And from our part, I would like to thank interpreters who really worked. It is Alexander Babko, me, thank you. It is Artem Davleev, thank you very much. Maxim Yedgorov, our technical support, Alexander Brezhnev and Alexander Kalish helped us as well. This is the youth group from Research Center. Look, it's your Russian co-workers who did it possible, made it possible to make in technical support. Thank you very much. And at the end, I'd like to say that probably we'll have many difficulties. Please write your questions, not only concerning the Secret Doctrine, but live questions, what to do in this or that situation, or whether you think it the right way, how to understand something. Write these questions to Luke, and in our conversations we'll reveal the right way forward, put it forward by Madam Blavatsky. But I'd like to prevent you that if questions are posed, so please do not pose your everyday life questions if possible. How to act in this or that difficult situation, not to pose these questions, please. Please pose questions on the essence, and that is really important. That is how we'll be a bit up all the time. We'll be solemn, and there will be light in your hearts. Thank you very much. Love you all. Thank you so much. Now at the screen we'll have the presentation and our contacts once again, and contacts of your research center are known by all. Thank you very much. Next meeting is on the 11th of March, Thursday, 6 p.m. Moscow. We'll have the first conversation on the introduction of the Secret Doctrine. We are waiting for your questions, for your impressions. Light and love. Thank you.